Hi,
All
good afternoon.
stations, Mumbai ground. How do you read?
Mumbai ground, Radio 5, Victor Tango, Mike India Echo.
Great. I also read you 5. Anybody who cannot hear me, just let me know. Readability skill. Anyone who cannot hear me, just let me know. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. Alkesh here, your instructor. And we'll just give a couple of minutes more and see if others are joining. So sit back and relax and prepare yourself and just do a radio or a readability check with me. All right. I'm just here and I can hear you guys. Okay, so let's just quickly get done with the attendance and then we'll start with our today's topic. What we are learning today is a very important part of your air navigation. So we'll discuss it once we're done with the attendance. So one by one, just give me your names. Okay, just a second. So we have, okay. I just wait couple more minutes, all right? We'll just resume. We'll just start. Okay, everyone, thank you for waiting. And let's just begin. Just let me get done with your attendance. That's it. Apparently, a few students did not receive the notification. No problem. Um, we'll make sure the communication is better the next time. So, yes, I'll just start taking names. You tell me if you guys are there or not, or how should we do it? Just take your name one by one, guys. Just tell me your name and I'll understand your present.
So Nitin,
Roger,
Mukul,
Harshit, Abhipriti, got it.
Mukul,
Mukul, okay, Pavni is here. Roger, and one more student. We're missing one more from the people present in class.
Sir, it's Sudhanshu, sir. It's my double name.
Sudhanshu, correct. Sudhanshu is here. Good. Nice to see y'all. Just a second, okay. Although I cannot see all, I'd like to see all. So the instructions are same. If possible, please try to, keep your videos on. Just give me a couple of more minutes, guys. I appreciate your patience. Okay. So I'm very happy to see you all, and I hope you feel the same. Finally, we are back to our regular classes after some time, and I'm very happy. And I hope you guys study well and continue till the time your studies are over for navigation and for other subjects also. So, what are we going to do today? Today, we are going to study about the most important aspect of your navigation, which is your flight plan. And it is amazingly the most easiest to study also. Okay. And what happens is if we don't do flight plan in the beginning and if we keep it for later, so the exam pressure and deadline, at times you will tend to ignore it. And a couple of questions might come from this topic, which is like very important. So let's go through it. Now, what is a flight plan? I would like to know from you guys. Okay, one by one. So take your time. Nitin, you will answer me last. Abhipriti, you'll answer me second last. Then I think Harshit, just in one line, tell me what do you think a flight plan is?
am I audible, sir?
You are audible on a scale of 5. Yes. The reason I ask this question is because after I teach you, you will not be able to make guesses because you will know the right thing and you'll know the correct thing. So I just want to see whether whatever you know about flight plan. All right, guys. So quickly give me your response It does not have to be right. It does not have to be wrong. Just what you think a flight plan is in one line or two, quickly. Yeah, Harshit, go ahead. Okay, Harshit, I cannot hear you. I'll pass on the question to Mukul. Mukul, what do you think is a flight plan?
Flight plan is a detailed instruction for overall from departure to arrival destination. That means what time, what proceeding for takeoff and everything.
Correct, correct. It has a detail from departure to destination. Maybe it has time, like you said. Okay, good. So we have one answer that tells us
May I?
it has. Yeah, who is
Sir,
it?
it's Pavni.
Yeah, please
May
go
I?
ahead, Pavni. Yeah.
Sir, it's a basic information about the departure and arrival points, and also about the route and information and about the people and about the aircraft. What we do, what we gonna fly.
Hold on to that answer of yours. So we have departure, arrival, time. Okay, Pavni, can you repeat your answer? Let me just add it.
Departure,
Mm-hmm.
arrival,
Mm-hmm.
time, and fuel, and the number of people. Just the base. It's just an information about the aircraft.
Information about the aircraft. Okay. All right.
Sure, I'm done. Yeah.
Very good. Sudhanshu, what do you think?
So the same thing, like the fuel, departure, estimated time, where it is going to be land, and weather, and so on. So
Once again, I want you to repeat your answer, Sudhanshu.
yes, sir.
Once again, I want you to repeat your answer.
So same thing, the departure, arrival point, weather, type of flight, then VFR,
Weather, type of flight. Okay. And
and
you said VFR, that is flight rules.
yes, sir.
Mhm.
Then the number of people,
Okay, passenger on board. Number of people is represented as POB, passenger on board. Okay. What else?
then the information about aircraft.
Information about aircraft. Okay.
Yes, sir. That's all.
All right. Okay, thank you for your answer. And Harshit, what do you think is a flight plan?
So it's a basic set of information from the departure till the arrival point. It
Mhm.
comprises like the aircraft identification, uh, time of departure, aircraft type, and what flight level we are going to, cruising at, um, route, and so arrival point, and I guess the alternate aerodrome.
Mhm. All right.
And one more thing, so wake turbulence, I guess.
Mhm. Mhm. All right.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So together we have so many things. Now I'd want Abhipreeti to answer. Abhipreeti, what do you think a flight plan is?
Sir, I think flight plan is the details given to the cockpit crew about their flight, and it has 13 information or items which are uh, arrival aerodrome, departure aerodrome, alternate aerodrome, time of departure, wake turbulence, route, flight level, and rules which they are using, IFR or VFR,
Very good.
and other information and equipment on board.
Mhm.
That's all I remember.
Very good. I see a few more new things added. Very nice. And now, Nitin, what do you think do we have in flight plan? Abhiriti, thank you for your answer.
You're welcome.
See, the aircraft's weight, the passenger weight, the baggage weight. I mean, everything is already there.
You can repeat the same things, no problem. You can add a few things you can say in your own words.
Endurance.
Mhm.
Then that's all. I mean,
Wow.
aircraft category, aircraft weight,
Mhm, mhm.
and about the power, about the horsepower, TAS, ground speed.
TAS, okay. Mhm. Ground speed, horsepower.
Is it related to the sectional charts? If it is, then the obstacle clearance, even that we gotta watch out for.
MOC, minimum obstacle clearance.
Yes.
Okay, good. See, we have so many pointers that could possibly be a part of our flight plan. And in one way or the other, you guys are correct. Everyone is correct. We need all this basic information before we proceed with our flight. But when anyone is asking you a definition about what is a flight plan, then the definition has to be very specific. It has to be crisp. You cannot say what is a part of a flight plan. You have to describe what is a flight plan. Then they will ask, okay, tell me what are the different elements of a flight plan, and you can go in the elements using your sequences. Uh, as in, it is just like filling a form. You all must have filled one or the other form in your life. In the form, you see it starts with point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, 4, 5, and so on. A part of the form is to be filled by the um, admins and the office people, and a part of the form is to be filled by you, maybe while opening a bank account, applying for a loan, taking an admission, or something or the other. So this ICAO flight plan that we're talking about, flight plan, is actually either you can call it as ICAO ATC flight plan, or you can call it ATC flight plan, or you can call it ICAO or ICAO flight plan. Okay. This is standard. This flight plan is standard across all the member nations of ICAO. For people who don't know what is ICAO, it is International Civil Aviation Organization. DGCA falls under ICAO. All right. Indian DGCA that we are so well versed with, and we have to interact with DGCA. DGCA works under the guidance of ICAO. Similarly, there are at least 193 member countries. The number keeps revising, either a country is added or removed. The last I had checked was 193 member nations. They call them states. So we are all member states of ICAO. So all these rules and regulations and the syllabus and everything that we are studying is actually initially formulated by ICAO. This is the reason why we are following ICAO flight plan. US pilots, you will require to submit your flight plan even before you start your flight. And it can be as early as a week before you plan to fly. So it is nothing but it is your intention. It is your intention about from where you're going to go to where you're going to go, your departure, your arrival, which route are you going to take, what is the equipment that you have which will help you reach from A to B, what is the type of your aircraft. Okay, is it a small aircraft, piston engine aircraft, jet engine aircraft? What is the model of your aircraft? What is the time duration that you're planning to fly? Obviously, the route, all the other necessary information. What flight rules are you following? Okay, there are two flight rules, IFR and VFR. Sometimes there's a combination of both also. So that will be mentioned. This is basically a proposal that you give to ATC well in advance before you carry out your flight. The ATC will see it and the ATC will approve it. If the ATC has certain problems thinking that your flight plan will coincide with somebody else's flight plan, then you will be notified it and you'll have to revise your flight plan. Otherwise, you can go ahead with your flight plan. Now, there are two basic types of flight plans. Okay. We will see what those types are. Sometimes you will have to just submit one flight plan for your flight, and then for your next flight, you'll have to submit the next flight plan and so on. But there are times when you'll have to carry out a same flight again and again. So that time you will issue a flight plan which will be known as repetitive flight plan. It is same flight plan which keeps repeating on a certain frequency. So you don't have to submit it again and again to ATC. Submitting your flight plan and getting it approved is very important. All right. Without that, you cannot fly. That's why you as an air navigation student, as a budding pilot, you need to know about this. And when you'll start your flight training, you will learn how to file. You will have to file. I hope you get to file your own flight plans because it requires a lot of understanding of the weather, of the navigation charts, and a lot of things. We will see how many things are included in the actual ATC flight plan from the list of things that you all have mentioned together. Weight is not mentioned in the flight plan. Weight is a separate category. The sheet known where the weighing happens is load and trim sheet. There's a different document for that. All right. So a load and trim sheet is something that goes before every flight. So the weight and all is not a part of your flight plan. Okay. That I can discount right now. Other things we will see when we see all the elements of the flight plan. What will be asked to you in the examination will be that which item numbers have what in the flight plan. Okay. And that is your major point to remember. Now, people who have studied RT with me, they know that we have 13 pointers, but the sequence is anything. It's just like what we see in the examination. Today, you guys are going to learn about the actual flight plan and actual sequence and actual item numbers. This will not only be helpful for your navigation theory exams, DGC ground papers, but it will also be helpful to you for your Vivas in future, and of course, your RT exams also. Okay, so remember this. What I'm going to do is first I'm going to show you what the real flight plan looks like. Then I will show you what are the different item numbers. And then I'll tell you the exact definition and a few other definitions that we need to remember and you need to write in your notebooks. In between, if anybody has any doubts, please open the last page of your notebook in the parking lot, write today's date and write your doubt and wave your hand on the application. So I will know, or you can put in a chat message saying, sir, I have this doubt. We'll discuss it when I'm done training you, maybe in part or maybe in full. Okay, so that you don't have to interrupt me in between. Anytime anybody loses the connection or something, rejoin and continue from where you have left. We will have this recording available for you to check wherever you had missed. So you have nothing to lose. Anybody needs a break? I don't know if you can tell me, but I'll give you a break, a timely break in between. So wait for it. All right. Yeah. So let me show you the real flight plan. And this is how the real ICAO flight plan looks like. These days, you get a soft copy, just like Google Forms. And you can just fill it and print it. Okay. And yeah. Great. So as you see, here we have ATC 8 written. Then we have flight plan written. And this is where it starts. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do some marking to show you where the cursor is. So on the top, Harshit, what do you see? What is written on the top after flight plan?
Priority.
Priority, of course. Then you see letters FF. Then you see an arrow mark on the right. And then
Yes.
you see addressees. Now, addresses is basically that ATC whom you're going to talk to. These will be the control ATCs that you'll be talking to en route. All right. So the codes here are very interesting. The first code that you see is Echo Golf Tango Tango, Zulu Quebec Zulu X-ray. So the first four letters are nothing but your ICAO or ECAO location designators. They show you the country, the FIR, and the airport. And the second set of four codes shows you whether you're going to talk to control or tower or approach. So this is how the codes are made on the flight plan. I'll show you a description of all possible call types. But remember, the first four letters are always showing your ICAO location designators. What are ICAO location designators? A quick revision. They are four-letter codes. And they represent the name of the country of the airport, the FIR region of the airport, and the airport itself. All right. So you will be communicating in the language of this only on your flight plan, whenever you are talking about your departure aerodrome and your arrival aerodrome. For example, I'll show you if I have to fly from the capital of our country, Delhi, to the financial capital of our country, Mumbai. So Delhi to Mumbai. This is where I intend to go. All right. So how will it be represented on the flight plan? The reason we have location designators to represent these names on the flight plan is to keep the data universal for all pilots of all countries, all nationalities. So if an Indian pilot is going to London and flying in London, he will see the same codes applicable to London airports. He will be trained in a way wherein he'll be able to decipher, looking at the codes, what is the name of the airport. And it will not be known to people from outside the aviation sector, only to the people who, are trained to look at it. So for Mumbai or for Delhi, we have a common code that is applicable to all the airports on India. The first letter is Victor. Both. As these are four-letter codes. So first letter shows you the state or the country. Now, when I say state, do not confuse yourself with Maharashtra, Gujarat, Delhi, and so on. Although Delhi is a union territory. When I say state, it means India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, China, Russia. They all are member states. All right. Country or state is one and the same here. Victor stands for India. So wherever you see Victor, it is not only India actually, India plus a few subcontinent aerodromes. Even Sri Lanka has same. Even Malaysia and all the airports start with Victor. Okay, so there is a chart to it, a chart that shows these first letter codes, a chart that I'll be sharing with you all. So Delhi is in India, Victor. Mumbai is in India, Victor. The second letter will always show you the FIR. Now, this FIR is a further segregation of your land areas. So a country is divided into FIRs when it comes to aviation. Okay, a country is divided into FIRs. Smaller countries will only have one FIR. Pakistan only has one FIR. It is very small, but India is like 4 or 5 Pakistans together. So we have 5 FIRs. So different FIR will have a different code. These FIR regions are very important for you. So Delhi FIR code is India, I, and Mumbai FIR code is Alpha. So this will be common now. Whenever you're flying towards Delhi, you will see VI. If you see any other aerodrome which falls under Delhi FIR, then the starting 2 letters will be Victor India only. All right. So Jaipur. Jaipur falls under Delhi FIR. So the first 2 letters for Jaipur will be Victor India. So looking at the first 2 letters, you can make a sense where you're actually flying to which FIR. And then after that, looking at the next 2 letters, you know which aerodrome you're going to fly to. So even though you have not learned any location designator, it becomes very easy for you to understand where you're going. And with practice, it becomes permanent in your head. So Mumbai FIR, Mumbai Aerodrome has the letter Alpha, but Pune also falls under Mumbai. So Pune Airport will also start with Victor Alpha. And the last 2 letters will denote Pune. So Aurangabad, and then many more aerodromes around Mumbai FIR, including Ahmedabad, Bhavnagar. These all airports have the same first 2 letters. Now for Delhi, the last 2 letters are unique code, which will determine the aerodrome. So it will be Victor, correction, Delhi Papa, correction, Delta Papa. This is with reference to the old name for Delhi Airport, which was known as Delhi Palan Airport. So the old name is still going on till date. So VIDP is the ICAO location designator for Delhi, and this code will only be assigned to only one aerodrome in the whole world, and that is for our Delhi IGI airport. Okay. Now coming back to Mumbai, Mumbai has Bravo Bravo. Bravo Bravo obviously stands for Bombay, old name. So these are the location designators, one for Delhi, one for Mumbai. Similarly, all aerodromes will have different location designators. Remember, the first code will show you something known as AFSRA. Second will show you FIR. And the third and the fourth will show you the airport, or we call it as an aerodrome. So there are many airports in many countries that fall under the AFSRA denoted by letter V, Victor. India is one of those. Sri Lanka is there. Malaysia is there. All right. Remember that. Second letter is FIR and third and fourth are aerodrome codes. Why are we doing location designators? Because the topic of our study is ICAO flight plan. And as we see on the flight plan, the departure, the arrival, and also the name of the air traffic controllers that you're going to talk to will all be represented by location designators. Okay. And what we are doing ICAO ATC flight plan, a very important and a very easy chapter to study and be thorough with. So let's go back to what our actual flight plan looks like. Quickly, let's just go through it, and then we'll just see different item numbers. So guys, whenever you see there is a small gap in between me talking and stopping, that is for you to absorb everything that is told to you. Think about it, absorb, and remind yourself that, okay, we're learning something. Or else if I keep talking for 1.5 hours, you'll not get any time to absorb. And the only thing that you'll remember will be the last thing that I've said. So you have to be conscious about, mentally trying to remember these things. These are little things, small things, but if you don't know these things, then they will make you fall in trouble. So this is how the actual flight plan looks like. Once again, we are back on it. So after the addressing part, we see these codes. These are all for UK. First 4 digits are the ICAO location codes, or ICAO location designators as we commonly call them. This, 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 and this. The next 4 set of letters determines which ATC you're talking to. These codes will be shared with you later when we are doing communications. So the ones that I've underlined in green are 4-letter codes showing which air traffic controller you're talking to, as in whether you're going to talk to control, approach, or tower for that particular aerodrome. Okay. So now you see, you also have an option here which shows filing time. All right. This shows what time was the flight plan filed by the operator or the pilot to the ATC. And then originator, from where is this originating, the flight plan or the aircraft? So here this is, give us the specific identification of the addresses and or the originator. All right, so this again here becomes an aerodrome. Echo India Delta Whiskey. And ZPZX is basically the code for approach. So as you see, the letter starts from Echo, the location designator starts from Echo. It means that it is in a certain AFS array that has a code Echo, and it is given to UK, airports in the UK region. So what you have to do, what you as a pilot have to fill in are the sections which are white and not gray in this flight plan. So the ones that are in the gray are actually not for you to file. All right. It will be there in your flight plan. Okay. What you need to actually file is what starts with item number 7. And the item number 7, write it down, everyone. ATC flight plan, item 7 has your aircraft identification. This aircraft identification is your call sign. This will be your name that you will use to represent yourself to the air traffic controller. So this BAW 805 is actually the call sign for British Airways 805. For you, the call signs will be Indian. So if you had to say Air India 145, it would be Air I 145. It can be 5-letter, or it can be 6-letter, or it can be 7-letter, depending upon which country you are and which country uses which code. So item number 7 is only limited to one, that is aircraft identification. Okay. So you will be only asked about those items which are white, something that you have to fill. So everybody write down item number 7, aircraft identification. Okay. Let's quickly jump to item number 8. Item number 8 has two details. One is the flight rules, whether you're flying IFR, VFR, or a combination of IFR and VFR, or a combination of VFR first and then IFR. Everybody remember, I stands for IFR, V stands for VFR. If you are flying first IFR and then VFR, your flight rule is Yankee. And if you're doing VFR first and then IFR, then it is Zulu. All right. Item number 8 has flight rules and it has type of flight. Type of flight S. It means you're flying a scheduled flight. All airliners, 90% of the flights are scheduled flights. Sometimes they have to carry special flights for government or other purposes. Otherwise, they are scheduled operators. If you're looking to become an airline pilot, most of the times you'll use Sierra over there, which is a representative of scheduled flight. You might be wondering, sir, what are the name of the other codes? I'll share all the notes with you all. Okay. What are the possible codes that you will get in type of flight? Like if you have November, it will mean non-scheduled and so on. So item number 8 has two things, flight rules and type of flight. Everybody please write it down. So item number 7, we will start with item number 7. These items are for you to remember for your exams. Item 7 is aircraft identification. Item 8 is flight rules and type of flight. Write down item number 9er. 9er stands for 9. Okay. Item number 9er. Item number 9er will say the number of aircraft it is applicable to. Then what is the type of the aircraft, whether you're flying a Boeing, whether you're flying Airbus. Whether you're flying an Embraer, maybe a Gulfstream, maybe a Cessna, if you're doing training flights. So see, item number 9er, number of aircrafts, 1. Type of aircraft here shows Boeing 737. So item number 9er has 3 information: number of aircraft, type of aircraft, and wake turbulence category. Now, what is wake turbulence category? During your departure, so say this is your runway and you're taking off like this. On that takeoff leg, this part is known as takeoff leg till the time, take off properly and retract your flaps and so on. You don't change your heading until then. So on this part, your jet engine or any other engine leaves a lot of exhaust behind. That exhaust causes the air behind you to be very turbulent. Now, when you do aerodynamics, you'll realize what turbulence means. But here I'll show you turbulence means disturbed air. And you don't need disturbed air when you want to fly smoothly. You need smooth air or streamlined air. So depending upon the wake turbulence of your aircraft, it is very important for the ATC to determine which aircraft should be given a departure behind you. If you are flying a Boeing 747 and just soon after your takeoff, if I send a Cessna 152 behind you, then the Cessna 152 will face a lot of turbulence during its takeoff and it is not safe for the pilot or the aircraft. So wake turbulence is very important, and aircrafts in general are categorized in n number of ways, billion ways. Okay. Wake turbulence categorization is one of those important ways. They can be determined or categorized as per the maximum takeoff weight, number of engines, type of landing gear, type of fuselage, number of aisles, so much. But wake turbulence is a part on your flight plan, so you need to remember that. If anybody asks you, where do you get your wake turbulence category on your flight plan, you simply say item number 9 or 9. This is how you need to memorize these item numbers. So remember, it starts with item 7, aircraft identification, item 8, flight rules, and type of flight. Item 9 has 3 things now. So the first thing has 1, the second thing has 2, the third thing has 3. Then we have item number 10. So we have 7, 8, 9, and 10. 7, 8, 9, and 10. 10 will show you equipment. Now, people who are into simulation often get confused thinking equipment is the type of the aircraft, because there they say equipment is Boeing or an Airbus and so on. But here it does not mean that. In real flight plan, it means what are the equipments that you're carrying on the aircraft, or what are the equipments you're not carrying on the aircraft. So there is a list of codes. Here, Sierra stands for standard equipment. It means you have navigation aids and you have comm aids, communication aids, and you have landing aids also. So you will get a list of all the possible codes along with the list of all the other codes. So item number 10 will show you equipment carried on board. Then item number 13 has departure aerodrome. Now, finally, the first thing that everybody mentioned when I was asking you all, what do you think a flight plan is? The first thing that you thought is actually item number 13. So where are you departing from? You're departing from Echo India Delta Whiskey. And do you see here on originator, we had the same code on originator, but that was not supposed to be filled by you, because whenever you will have the form to fill, this flight plan to fill, depending upon which airport you are getting it from, the soft copy or the blank form, those things will be pre-filled for you. It is like that. So the pilot got this form from Echo India Delta Victor, the aerodrome associated with it. And he is also departing from the same aerodrome. So his departure aerodrome is the same. You might wonder, sir, which airport is this? So in your break time or maybe after your session, just do an online search and you will figure out. You will see the name of the airport. But be very thorough with your online research. Don't just go on to the multiple options. Go through the website names that you get and there you check. Most of the what will help you with the online research is the website known as Skybrary. Most of the times, that is the only website that has accurate details about aviation stuff. If you don't get it there, then you can, try other Google search results. So item number 13 is very important. It shows your departure aerodrome denoted in ICAO location designator codes. And then this is your time of departure. So this pilot here is planning to fly at 11. Now, what does it mean? Does it mean 11 a.m. or 11 p.m.? So all your time format in aviation will be on the 24-hour format. So if it would have been 11 p.m., it would have been 2300. Because it's 1100, it means it's 11 a.m. because the clock starts at midnight at 0000 hours. So morning 10 a.m. will be 1000, 1100. Our present time is 1352. So your departure aerodrome and your time of departure will be in item number 13. Everybody please write it down. Then the most interesting part, item number 15, it will show you your cruising speed. This pilot has planned to fly at a cruising speed of 430 knots, 430 knots. Okay. This pilot is planning to fly at a maximum altitude known as the cruising altitude, which is mentioned as the level here, which is flight level 290, which means 29,000 feet. So whenever you see F290, it actually means flight level 290. Whenever you have to decipher it into thousands of feet, it becomes 290 and then add 2 zeros, it becomes feet. 29,000 feet. And this here level you see is your cruise level. You cannot go beyond this altitude, and this is your destination altitude during your climb. And then when I say destination altitude, it means you are aiming to reach to 29,000 feet and then continue with the rest of your flight till a designated point close to your arrival, from where you start requesting for descent and come down again. So this is where your maximum flight takes place, and most of this part of the flight is done through autopilot features. If you have that in your plane, the pilot gets to relax also. Until the cruising altitude is reached, the pilot has to do a lot of manual climb and this and that. Once the cruising is reached, he can simply switch on to autopilot and just monitor the aircraft system's weather, and the plane will fly on its own. You'll be taught all this in your type rating and stuff. So cruising altitude N is a code here, possibly representing knots. You will see that in the list of codes. Wherever I use possibly, it is for you to cross verify when you're going through the notes. And the speed is mentioned with 5 digits. First is November, then 4 digits, that is showing your speed. By the way, does anybody know which is the highest speed achieved by a commercial jetliner? Write it in chat whenever you want, okay? A recent record was broken, but it was under test conditions. Let's see if you can get it. So cruising altitude, flight level, and then the most important thing is route. Guys, also remember all this with respect to your RT exams also. This is the route that you're going to follow. Name of the route is UR14. So you will call it as Uniform Romeo 14. Then this STU here is not actually the name of the route, but it is a VOR. All VORs have 3-digit codes. So this is a VOR. Then this looks like a route. Then this looks like a VOR. Then DCT is a standard code, which actually shows that you're going to fly direct from VOD to OCK. You will see this also when I share the notes with you. And then the final OCK VOR is where the pilot is intending to go. This is his route. So it shows the name of the route, and it also shows the significant points on the route. Remember the word significant points. Okay. So item number 15 has cruising speed, flight level, and route. Remember, guys. And you will see that they have given so much more blank area to fill on the route, because sometimes the pilot might need more place to write this. You can fill this flight plan digitally on the computer, or you can take a blank copy and do it manually also. This is also possible, right? So where do you get your destination airport on your flight plan? If anybody asks you this, or if you get this as an MCQ in your examination, then you'll say it's simple, item number 1616. Why? Because it's mentioned here. Check it out. Item 16, destination aerodrome. So we are flying to a destination aerodrome with the ICAO location designator indicator, Echo Golf Lima Lima. Where did we see Echo Golf Lima Lima before? We saw it in addresses. Check this out. We saw it twice. Now, very important thing which very few people from Indian, ground studies are aware of is something known as EET. EET, and here you have total EET. Okay. So EET in general means estimated elapsed time. It means how much time do you think you will take from one point to another point in between. And when you talk about total EET, then it means what is the total estimated time between your departure and your arrival. This time assumption works hand in hand with your weather conditions, your wind predictions, and your cruising speed. So right now, and of course the distance. So right now, if my cruising speed is 430, and if my time estimate that will be elapsed when I fly from destination to departure to arrival is only 50 minutes. You see 00 hours and 50 minutes. See it carefully. The first two digits are for hours and then for minutes. So you can actually calculate a distance with the formula speed is equal to distance upon time. And then you will know what is the distance between Echo India Delta Victor, that is a departure aerodrome, and your destination aerodrome, Echo Golf Lima Lima. Remember this, guys. In navigation, the only reason why exams are difficult is because they ask you simple things, but the way they ask is very complicated. They will never ask you the direct thing. They'll ask you the direct thing for a few percentage of questions. Now, if somebody asks you, where will you type in your alternate aerodrome? Alternate is required, and alternate is of three types. There is a destination alternate, en route alternate, and departure alternate. If something goes wrong just after departure and you realize just after departure you cannot come back to your departure aerodrome, then you need a departure aerodrome close to your departure airport. If something goes wrong in between, somewhere near the midpoint of your route, and you need to make an emergency landing, then you will go to your en route alternate aerodrome. It is planned, so you don't need to actually ask for more permissions because you already planned. And when you're going towards, say, Mumbai, in our example here, destination, and you realize Mumbai is closed and you cannot land, then you need a destination alternate, an alternate close to Mumbai. So it could be anything. So you need to plan, take prior approvals, and then put the name here. That's why we have alternate aerodrome and then second alternate aerodrome also. So here they have represented Echo Golf Bravo Bravo. That is a name of some airport here. And second aerodrome alternate they have not kept. They don't need it. It's a short flight, short distance. Maybe that's why they have kept just one alternate, because all other distances are very, within the range of safe flight. So item number 16 is in your hands. Very important. Destination, total estimated elapsed time. Total estimated elapsed time, also known as TEAT. Then alternate aerodrome. All these are a part of your item number 16. Memorize these today itself, okay? Now the most important thing again, item number 18. So if you realize there is no item number 17 and there is no item number 14. 14, there is no item number 14. See, after 13, there is directly 15. So don't get confused. And after 16, there is no 17, you directly have 18. All right, remember this much. And yeah, item number 3 over here, although it's pre-edited, you don't have to fill in, but it says what is the message type. It is FPL, that is flight plan. So item number 3, in case they ask you, remember it is showing you the message type. Coming back, other information is something that shows you whether your aircraft is carrying something special on board. Do you need special handling? Is there a VIP on board? Is it a flood rescue flight or anything else? Other extra information. So here they have given, also you can get your aircraft registration markings also. That is your Victor Tango call signs in India. Here you see the registration marking is given as GB GJG, that is Great Britain, Golf Juliet Golf, that is the code for an aircraft registered in Great Britain. Then STS is basically special handling. It means it's a hospital flight, something carrying medical, going for medical purpose. So this aircraft will never be given a delay unless there is a weather delay, and it will always be given priority departure, priority handling. So this is very important for you to mention in case you're flying a flight other than a normal scheduled flight. So you have a VIP on board, he has to be there in some other place, and so on. And then they have said estimated elapsed time up to EGTT. So they are showing that EGTT, that airport, you're going to reach within 15 minutes. So this is where EEDET comes. And the total EET, as we saw for this particular flight plan, was 50 minutes. So remember the difference. These are simple things mentioned in the other information. There could be much more things mentioned. When I'll share the notes with you, you will see the list of all possible codes. So other information is in item 18. And then you have supplementary information below other information. Do not be confused thinking both are the same. They are not same. Okay, they are not same. So item number 19 is a part of your supplementary information. This could be asked to you. So remember, item number 19 and onwards is a part of your supplementary information. So which items are a part of your main flight plan? Item 7 to item 18. Okay. What is endurance? Very important topic for you to understand. And it is a part of your few navigation calculations also. Endurance means the maximum time the aircraft can stay in air with the available amount of fuel on board. Maximum time the aircraft can stay in air with the available amount of fuel. Why is it important? It's important so that in case you have a bad weather condition at your destination, and if you're asked to hold near the airport before you can land, so you can determine what is the maximum hold time before which you have to land, after which you have to land. So if your total estimated time is 50 minutes and your endurance is 2 hours, 30 minutes, it means that you have how much? 1 hour and let's say how much? 40 minutes extra. You can stay in air without running out of fuel. So if they are giving you a holding time, it cannot exceed more than an hour and 40 minutes or so. If they are asking you to go to some other airport, so your time to that other airport should not exceed the remaining time, which is 1 hour 40 minutes. But there is always a deduction that you do, and you don't totally depend upon 1 hour 40 minutes that is pending. But that is endurance, the maximum number of hours or time you can stay in air with the available amount of fuel. This is very important, guys. As your pilot, you will have to know this so that you can decide where you can go, if not to your destination. If you choose your destination, which goes beyond your available endurance time, then you will crash your plane because you ran out of fuel. It's a distress situation. It's a mayday situation. You will have to force land your airplane, and it will not be a guarantee whether you will have any good area to land upon. So remember, this is very important. This question can be asked to you, whether endurance, where is it? It's a part of your supplementary information, item number 19. Item number 19 also has people on board or persons on board or passenger on board. This aircraft is carrying 103 people on board. Then what are the available emergency radio equipments? You have UHF, VHF, and something known as ELBA. You'll be given a list of how to decode it. This is also a part of item number 19. So item number 19 has a lot of equipments, a lot of information. It is the supplementary information, not to be confused with other information. Then they show you what is the survival equipment that you have. These are all the codes for different survival equipments. Okay. Whether you have jackets, whether you have emergency lights, whether you have rafts, whether you have dinghies, what are dinghies, you will get to know. Okay. Life rafts, waist jackets. So you need to be aware. Here they have crossed out polar. It means you don't have survival equipment if you crash near the poles. You don't have survival equipment if you crash near the desert. But if you crash near an airplane, you have survival equipment. For jungle, you don't have, but you have jackets, you have lights, you have floors. What is floors? You'll see. But you don't have UHF, VHF survival equipment, although you have emergency radio, which we saw above, UNV. UHF, VHF was there. Then how many dinghies you have? You have 10 dinghies. The total capacity is 150. What is this? Is it the raft? We will see. What is the color? Color is yellow. Then what are the other information about the aircraft? Like you guys said, so it also carries other information about the aircraft. What are the information? The color of the aircraft and the markings. The aircraft is blue in color and the registration markings. The markings that denote the registration of the aircraft are in gray. Is there any other remark that need to be mentioned here? No. What is the name of the PIC? So see, the name of the PIC is also a part of your flight plan. It is in the supplementary information following item number 19, which shows you endurance and POV. Remember this. Your MCQs can be very confusing. That's it. And they are also mentioned who has filed the flight plan. British Airways Operations Department has filed the flight plan. That is the code PA Ops. Sometimes you as a pilot can also file the flight plan. Your name will come there. Your contact number will also come there. Or it could be the operator or a representative of the operator. The word operator means the airline or the person who's running the airline. You'll see the word coming now and then very often in your regulations. So that sums up your ICAO flight plan. This is it. First, you understand the number of items and what information goes where. And afterwards, you decode and see all the possible options for all the different type of information. That's all that you need to remember, apart from a certain definitions and types of flight plan. So there are two types of flight plan: basic flight plan and repetitive flight plan. So I hope everybody has written it down. We are going to escape or exit the screen of the actual flight plan. I'll give you a couple of minutes. And I'll also write, so item 8, flight rules and type of flight. Can anyone help me with item 9 or 9? What's there in item 9? Jeet?
Number, type, and wake turbulence.
Okay, Nitin is giving me the answer. Number, type, and wake turbulence. Number, type of aircraft, be specific, say a type of aircraft, and wake turbulence category. Very good. Number of aircraft, type of aircraft, and wake turbulence category. Very nice. What is the next item? Is it 10? Is it 11? Jeet, can you answer?
10.
I'll take names. You guys only answer then, okay? Jeet, are you there?
Oh.
Okay. Item 10. Can you tell us what is there in item number 10?
Equipment carried on board.
Equipment carried on board. Let's check. Correct. Equipment carried on board. What is the different type of equipment carried or not carried can be mentioned. Mukul, can you tell me which is the next item number? Is it 11, 12, 13?
Item 13.
Okay, so there is no 11.
Departure.
12. All right. What is there in item 13?
Departure, aerodrome, and time of departure.
Departure, aerodrome, and time. Let's see. Correct. Very good. Which is the next item number? Pavni, can you tell me?
Yes, sir. Item number 15.
Item number 15. So there is no item number 14. Okay, let's make a note of it. What are the different items?
Cruising speed, level of flight, and route of flight.
cruise speed, cruise level, and route.
Level of cruise and level of flight.
Correct. Level of flight I've mentioned as FL there. Route and cruising speed, correct. Very nice. Which is the next item, Harshit? Is it 16? 17? Harshit, I cannot hear you. Sudhanshu, you tell me.
Yes, so it's item number 16.
Very good. What is there in
It
16?
is so it is the aerodrome destination and total estimated elapsed time and alternate aerodrome.
Total estimated elapsed time, good. And alternate
Aerodrome.
item 16. Let me check. Alternate, and second alternate is also there. Don't miss saying that because there's a blank for it. So second alternate is also there. Okay. Harshid, are you there? Okay, Abhipriti, tell me what is the next item?
Item number 18.
Item number 18, correct. And what is there in item number 18?
We have other information.
Other information. Very nice. Great. Correct. And Nitin, please tell what is the next item number?
Item number 19, endurance. Persons on board, emergency radios. That is all supplementary information.
Endurance, passenger on board, emergency radio, and other supplementary information. Very good. Does it have the name? Okay. So the question goes to Jeet. Jeet, which item number will have the name of your pilot in command?
Item 19.
Item 19. All right. Okay. Mukul, where will I see the aircraft registration marking?
Aircraft registration mark, item 19.
Negative. Not right. Abhipriti, where will I see aircraft registration marking? See, this is tricky. This is the way that you will be asked questions in the examination. Okay. Pavni, aircraft registration marking, which item number?
It item number 7.
Negative. Sudhanshu?
So I think it would be item number 90.
Negative. 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 Jeet?
18.
18. Very good. 18 is the correct answer, guys. Why? Let's just quickly check our flight plan. In other information, the first thing that we saw in this flight plan was the registration marking of the aircraft. Remember the code GB, GJG. I said Great Britain. In India, you will have Victor Tango. So whenever you want to find the registration marking of your aircraft, that will be mentioned in the other information. Check this out. I'm marking it in green. This. Aircraft registration marking you'll find in item 18, other information. Remember that, everyone. Make a note. Put a star over there somewhere in your notes. Everybody. Aircraft registration markings, item number 18. Whether the aircraft requires special handling, item number 18. Any other information regarding to the time taken from one point to another, item number 18. Like this. Okay. Slowly, I'll give you more practice to decode simple concepts from a complicated questions. All right. You would have had item number 19 in your option, item number 18 in your option, and item number 7 in your option. Your first guess, whoever said item number 19 would have marked item number 19 and move on to the next question in the examination. Somebody who said item number 7 would have done the same for 7. Somebody who would have thought about item number 9 would have been confused thinking, oh, I think it's 9, but 9 is not mentioned in the item number list. And somebody who knows 18 will mark 18. So only one student out of 6 is getting the right answer, out of 7 is getting the right answer. So what we learn from this is that before submitting, we need to cross verify our answers always. So basically what helped Jeet to come up with the answer is that he knew that item number 19 is wrong and item number 7 is wrong, because I said directly it's wrong, wrong, wrong. In the examination, you will not have me, but you have to do that for yourself. For questions that for which you don't know the direct answer, of course. This is a technique to solve it. Subsequently, I'll teach you again and again, again and again. Great. So these are the item numbers. And okay, one more question. Now this is a tricky question. Okay. Related to something that I've taught you, but not related to what we have seen on the flight plan. What do you mean by endurance? Option number A, the maximum distance the aircraft can travel on available fuel. Option number B, option number B, the maximum altitude the aircraft can fly on a given amount of fuel. Option C, the maximum time the aircraft can fly on a given amount of fuel. PAR, is it Pawnee? Pawnee, you have raised your hand. Please give me the answer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirm. It's maximum time the aircrafts can stay with available fuel.
Great. Okay, thank you for your answer. Does anybody want to give me an objection to this answer? Or you all agree?
I agree, sir.
Okay. Jeet, do you agree?
Yeah.
Mukul,
Yes, I agree.
Sudhanshu, Abhipreeti?
Yes, sir. Agree, sir.
Very good. Good, good, good. Very nice. Which item number will give me the total number of passengers carried on board? Okay. Is it item number 7, item number 18, or item number 19? Raise your hand. Passenger on board. Item number 7, item number 18, item number 19. Mukul and Sudhanshu. First, Mukul, go ahead.
Item number 9.
Sudhanshu, what's your answer?
Yes, sir. It is item number 19.
Very good. Anybody wants to object? I don't think so, because it's self-explanatory now. We've got the correct answer. Very good. Very good. Okay. Which item number will give me the aircraft make and model number? Is it 7? Is it 9? Or is it 18? Aircraft make and model 7, 9, 18. These are your 3 options. Yeah, Pawnee, go ahead.
Sir, it's 7.
Okay. Jeet, answer.
9.
9. Anybody else wants to chip in their answers, because I have 2 different answers?
9. Item number 9.
Nathan is saying 9. Okay. Make and model basically wants to tell me whether I'm flying an Airbus 320 or Airbus 319er or Airbus 321. Nothing but your type of aircraft. And that is item number 9. Item number 7 is aircraft identification. Correct? So see, I've just changed 2 words, replaced aircraft type or type of aircraft with make and model. And we are getting a little confused with our answers. This should not happen. We should always have a presence of mind, because make and model is not mentioned anywhere on the flight plan. It is closely associated to type of aircraft only, because nothing else matches. So your most appropriate answer will be type of aircraft, item number only. So whenever you don't have direct answers, you have to look for the most appropriate answer. And this is the technique to crack DGC exams. Most appropriate answers. All right. Last, one more. Which item number in your flight plan will tell me whether I have radio navigation aids on board or not? Try to raise the hand on the app, on the software. Which item number will tell me whether I'm carrying radio navigation aids on the aircraft or not? Systems that will help me navigate using radio waves. Come on, try. Raise your hand and try. Nobody's raising the hand. So Dhanshu has raised and Abhipreeti has raised. So Dhanshu, go ahead.
So I think is it probably item number 19?
Okay. Think and cross-check your answer before submitting. Try to practice that. Although you have come up with an answer, try to re-verify your answer. Abhipreeti, what's your answer?
Item number 10.
Say again, read you two.
Item number 10, equipment.
Item number 10, equipment. Okay. Jeet, what is your answer?
10 for radio, yeah.
10. Okay. Nitin, Mukul, Sudhanshu. Mhm.
Item number 10.
Item number 10.
Avni, what's your answer?
Sir, it's 19.
Negative. Negative. 19 has emergency radio and survival equipment, where we see the name radio. Radio navigation aids is a part of systems, and these systems, I had just said that whether you have carried navigation aids, communication aids, and landing aids. So the word navigation had come there. Whether you have navigation equipment on board or not will be a part of your item number 10, which is equipment. Which are the equipments you're carrying on board? All right. What you're trying to relate it is with supplementary information, which is different, which shows emergency radio only. So this is how it can be tricky. So we need to be very thorough. Remember, radio navigation aids, landing aids, all other systems. When I share the notes with you, you will see a list of all those systems. They all are carried or mentioned in the item number 10 of the ICAO flight plan. All right. Any questions, anyone? If you have questions, go ahead one by one. So Dhanshu, do you have a question?
Yes, sir. It is item number 18, last one.
So item number 18 last shows us EET/EGTT0015. Now, just like you saw total EET in item number 16, we also have EET. Whenever you have EET, that is estimated elapsed time. Remember this, guys. This is important, and this is the only place you will be told about these words. Okay, it is not mentioned anywhere else. EET is estimated elapsed time. You are estimating how much time will be elapsed from point A to point B. That point B can be anywhere en route in between. And when you talk about total estimated elapsed time, that means the total time from your departure to your arrival. That's the difference. So here, in other information, they have mentioned EET. So from your departure, your estimated elapsed time to this airport, that is Echo Golf Tango Tango, represented by this code, the time taken for you from your departure to this point en route is 00 hours and 15 minutes. So this is your first significant point that you're reporting, that you will reach en route over a point which is EGTT. You don't have to land here, guys. Okay. You just have to fly over it and you'll reach there in 15 minutes. This is what they have mentioned. Remember, EETT will show you time taken to a significant point en route, and total EET or TEET will show you the total time elapsed between departure and arrival, or departure and destination. Write it down, everyone, okay? Sudhanshu, does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understood, sir.
Good. Anybody else has any question?
No, sir.
It's Mukul. I'm having question for item number 8, flight rules. Can you explain it?
Sure. So guys, make a note of what I'm going to show you all now. It's very easy, very simple. Item 8 has flight rules and type of flight. So the question is about flight rules. So I'll just show you on screen. It will be easy for you all to remember. Flight rules are basically of two types. When you will be learning to fly, you will fly first through VFR, that is visual flight rules, and then you will switch over or promote yourself to IFR, that is instrument flight rules. Any person who's flying IFR can anytime fly VFR, but any person who's approved to fly VFR cannot fly IFR. This is the basic question you'll always be asked in your regulations exams and RTA exams. Why? Because IFR person already knows how to fly VFR. That's how he's come to IFR. But a person who's trained under VFR has not yet been taught about IFR. So he cannot fly in IFR conditions at all. So he should avoid flying. What are these conditions? VFR flights you need to do when you have conditions known as VMC, visual meteorological conditions. And IFR flights you will fly when your conditions change from VMC to IMC. What are these conditions? These are reduction in your weather elements, your visibility, your cloud height, your wind speed, and so on. So if the weather is clear, not stormy, visibility is clear, then you can fly VFR. So you can fly those planes that do not have sophisticated instruments. But if your visibility is bad, then you cannot fly those planes. You have to fly a plane which has proper instruments if the plane is rated for IFR flights, and the pilot should also be rated for IFR flights. This is how it goes. This is the first thing you will learn in your regulations, rules of flight. So VFR stands for Visual Flight Rules. IFR stands for Instrument Flight Rules. This is for everyone, okay? Not just for the student who's asked the question. All right, guys, so please nobody ignore. VMC is Visual Meteorological Condition. IMC is Instrument Meteorological Condition. Simple. So in your item 8, you have two boxes. You have flight rules and you have equipment. Let's cross check. I always like to cross check and see I figured out my mistake. Item 8 has flight rules and type of flight. See, nobody is perfect. Let's always cross check because I had a doubt. I knew it's not equipment. I just wanted to show you all that you should always cross check. So flight rules and what was it again? Who can remind me? Item number 8, flight rules and
Type of flight.
Type of flight. Very good. And with the call sign, okay? At times when I'm not taking your name, so I know who's given me the answer. Type of flight. So in flight rules, all the possible options that you have are V. V stands for VFR. I stands for IFR. Then you have Yankee, which says IFR first, then VFR, and then you have Zulu, which shows VFR first, then IFR. It means you will have certain flights wherein partially you will fly according to IFR rules, and then partially you will fly according to VFR rules. It is possible. Okay. How do you determine when you will change? It will be mentioned in your flight plan, in the route section, or the other information section. One or the two places. Mostly it will be mentioned in your route section. So write down these codes. Victor, India, Yankee, Zulu. Victor is VFR, India is IFR, Yankee is IFR first, then VFR, and Zulu is VFR first, then IFR. And these are all possible types in the flight rules part of your item number 8. Yankee and Zulu, seldom people know Yankee and Zulu. Not many people know. So if you guys want to stay ahead one step, remember Yankee and Zulu also. For your RT exams also, and for your navigation exams also. Does that answer your question, Mukul?
That's my question.
Good. Anybody else has any other question? Sudhanshu, do you have a question?
No, sir, no, sir. It's clear.
Okay, so if you all don't have any questions, I have final questions before we end the session for today. Okay. Who wants to go first? Jeet, do you mind going first?
It's all right. It's all right.
Okay. So Jeet, they give me any 3 points that you learned from the session. Any 3 points in your own words. If you keep your video on while you're speaking, that would be great.
How to basically file a flight plan and different items, which things are necessary and which is supplementary. And something new was the Yankee and Zulu.
Okay, good. Good. Thank you. Abhipreeti, do you want to go next?
Yes, sir. So today I learned what is India, right? And what is flight plan, the actual definition. That's okay.
What is the last thing you said? I could not hear you. I was reading you 3.
What is flight plan, sir? The actual definition.
What is a flight plan? Actual definition. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Pawnee, the next question goes to you. If I had
Yes,
to
sir.
ask you to describe what you learned in one line, covering the major points in one sentence, okay? Just go with the answer.
Sir, very specific and important points of the flight plan and new things like endurance and the basic 2 flight plans and Yankee and Zulu.
Okay. Thank you. Abhipreeti, thank you for your answer. Pawnee, thank you for your answer. Okay. So Sudhanshu, what do you feel is the most important element of this flight plan according to you? If I had to ask you any two items that you think are the most important, what would it be?
So I think this endurance part, and the second one is the flight rules.
Okay, all right. Good.
Yeah, these things would be the most important part.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. Thank you for your answer. Okay, Mukul, the question goes to you. What do you think is the least important part of this flight plan in your view?
In my view, I don't think so. Anything is least important because I'm learning for the first time. So for me, it's important.
That is a very good answer. I like it. Obviously, everything is important. Even if you would have said something, I would have agreed with you, but it is a correct answer. Everything in your flight plan is important. Nothing is least important. You cannot miss a single thing, or else your flight plan will be incomplete. Correct. Very well said. Nitin, the final question goes to you as to what information is pre mentioned in the flight plan, in your own words.
The address,
Can you describe what is address? Addresses.
it consists of the departure airport and the airports you're going to cross en route.
Not just the airports, but the air traffic controllers associated to them. So the
Yeah.
8-digit codes, the last 4 digits are representing whether you're going to talk to the approach or the control or the tower for that particular airport. Addresses.
Yes.
And what another thing that you will not type in is the originating airport. Where is the flight plan originating from? Originator.
Yes.
These two things will be pre made or typed into the flight plan from wherever you will make the flight plan print out or issue. If you're going at Mumbai and you want to file a flight plan, then that thing will be already given to you, which are the possible ATC controllers, and this flight plan is originating from VABB, like that. That is Mumbai location
Yes.
designator. I would like to sum up a few more things. What we learned is what are ICAO location designator codes. There are 4 letter codes. The first letter, when I say letter, it means A, B, C, D. Okay. Letter,
Yeah.
first letter is the AFSRA. It shows you the country, or as we know it, ICAO member state. The second letter will show you FIR or the country or the state. Like for countries like Pakistan, they're just one FIR. So they show the country there, the Pakistan. So Pakistan will be a part of a different AFSRA, a bigger AFSRA. These AFSRAs have multiple countries under them. Okay. One code will have multiple countries. Like the code for India is Victor. It has multiple countries, not just India, but all Indian aerodromes will start with Victor. So the second letter will be FIR region. All these AFSRAs, all the countries are divided into FIRs, flight information regions. All right. India has 5. We saw Delhi, we saw Mumbai. The next 3 are Chennai, Kolkata, and Guwahati. Guwahati is a sub FIR. It shares its airspace with Kolkata FIR. So we only have 5 FIRs, but only 4 codes. So Chennai has a code Oscar, Kolkata has a code Echo. Okay, this information becomes more important for your RT examinations, not for your navigation. So I'm not showing it on board, but it's good to know. You can write it down. So first letter is AFSRA. What is the full form? Aeronautical Fixed Service Routing Areas. I will try to put it in the notes. Second is the FIR, and the last 2, first done, second done, the last 2 will be the actual aerodrome code. Delta Papa will be Delhi Airport, like we discussed. Bravo Bravo will be Mumbai Airport, and so on. This is very important. This is the first thing that we learned. So remember that also, location designators. What we learned today is ICAO flight plan on all the important flight numbers, correction item numbers. When I'll share the notes with you guys, read the notes thoroughly. You will see more information that we have not discussed here, like definitions, different definitions, and what are the different codes. Read them, whatever doubts you have, underline, and get back to me with your doubts whenever you have them. I'll take some time to share the notes with you because I'm still moderating them. Until then, relax, enjoy. You don't have much homework to do. As we continue ahead, you will have a lot of things to learn, remember, because I'll be giving you timely assessments so that your practice is continued and you don't just have to practice. One thing that I've seen in my experience is that the only reason why we don't clear is because we run short of time. Okay, time for practice and time for covering a few more topics. So let's make sure that does not happen with us. And if you have any more questions or doubts, you can let me know. You can drop me a message and you can call me. Okay, your next lecture schedule I'll share with you all. I don't think we have a navigation class tomorrow, but wait for the confirmation up to evening. Today evening, I'll share the schedule with you. After this week, from next week onwards, I'll start sharing weekly schedules with you so that you can plan your week accordingly. Before I go, before I end the session, one last time, do you have any questions or do you want to share something? Please feel free to do it.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Pawni, go ahead.
So what about the missed item numbers like 4, 5, etc.? And why are they removed? I mean, the other item numbers.
Basically, they are removed from your flight plan, but they are a part of, say, some other document which is similar to your flight plan. It is like that. Why are they removed from the flight plan? Because they are not applicable to your flight plan. That's why you see
Yeah.
item number 3 message type shows FPL. So it will only show you details that are required to be a part of your flight plan.
All right, sir. The question is done.
Anybody else wants to share anything or ask anything? See, one question can help others also gain more knowledge. For me, I can keep teaching you all about one topic for 2 days also. So I have to keep it limited, which is applicable to your examinations. So that's why I'm teaching you things that are applicable to your examination and general knowledge also. But if you want to know more, if you have more doubts or confusions, if you have written anything in your parking lot, you can ask me right now, or else we are good to go then, and we'll see each other in the next session. I think we will have a class tomorrow, same time, but I'll confirm before 7 p.m. tonight, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay then. I'll take your leave, guys. Nice.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And if you have a negative feedback, please drop me a message. Otherwise, I'll assume everything is going good. All right? It will be confidential, don't worry. I'll see you all next class. We're going to learn more and more and nice things in a very good way. And we're going to solve a lot of MCQs verbally. And on a weekly or bi-weekly basis to start with, I'll start giving you tests also. And it's going to be interesting. So stay in the loop. And till the time you don't get your notes, relax. Once you get your notes, you'll have to study them. So yeah, enjoy your freedom until then, okay? Bye.
Bye,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.